The truth about transformation is that it does not arrive in your life like a sudden storm, sweeping everything away in one night and replacing it with something brand new. Transformation is the result of little things done daily, repeatedly, and faithfully. Small, consistent actions are often underestimated because they don't feel grand in the moment. Spending 1 hour in focused activity doesn't feel like it can change your life. But the truth is that it has more power than most people realize. The reason so many never reach their potential is not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is because they underestimate the power of consistency. They imagine that great change requires great leaps, when in fact great change requires steady steps. It is the brick laid daily, not the entire wall constructed overnight, that builds the house. When you take 1 hour a day and dedicate it to a specific goal, whether it be learning a skill, reading, practicing, or building something, you are engaging in the principle of compounding effort. Just as money invested compounds interest over time, effort invested compounds results. The first day may not show visible change. The first week may feel like nothing is happening, but slowly, as days become weeks and weeks become months, the fruit of your daily 1 hour investment begins to appear. One day, you wake up and realize you are no longer the same person you were when you began. You think differently, act differently, and move differently because consistency has reshaped your habits, your character, and your destiny. Consider how muscles are built. You cannot go to the gym for 12 hours in one day and expect lasting results. The body simply doesn't respond that way, but if you go to the gym for 1 hour every day over weeks and months, the body responds, strengthens, and transforms. Life operates the same way. Your mind, your finances, your relationships, your spiritual life, they are all built on the principle of repetition and consistency. That 1 hour, day after day, is where the transformation takes root. Most people live with the illusion that they will one day find enough free time to pursue their dreams. They say, when things settle down, I'll start that business. When I have more time, I'll study that subject. When I get a break, I'll work on myself. But the reality is that waiting for the perfect time is just another form of procrastination. The perfect time never arrives. The only time you truly have is the time you choose to use today. And the truth is, you don't need 10 hours, you only need 1. That 1 hour becomes sacred because it is the seed of your future. Imagine a farmer who looks at his barren field and says, "It's too empty, so I'll wait until it fills itself before I plant." That farmer would starve, but the wise farmer knows that each seed, though small, carries the potential of a harvest. Every seed matters. Your 1 hour daily is a seed. It might not look like much today, but when it is planted consistently, it guarantees a harvest. The harvest may take months or even years, but when it comes, it will be abundant. Another truth is that consistency builds credibility with yourself. Every time you commit 1 hour and you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted with discipline. You establish integrity with your own word. Most people don't fail because of lack of ability. They fail because they stop trusting themselves. They set goals, break promises to themselves, and eventually stop believing in their own potential. But consistency rebuilds that trust. Every single day you give that 1 hour, you send a message to yourself. I am serious about my destiny. I am committed to my future. I will not abandon myself again. That kind of self-trust is powerful. It fuels motivation and creates momentum. The truth is that 1 hour a day does not just change what you do, it changes who you become. The person who spends 1 hour every day reading will not only know more information, but will become a thinker, a problem solver, a visionary. The person who spends 1 hour a day working on their business will not only build income, but will become an entrepreneur, someone who thinks in terms of value, systems, and growth. The person who spends 1 hour in prayer and meditation will not only speak words, but will become spiritually aligned, walking with clarity, peace, and power. You are not just investing time into an activity, you are investing time into becoming a new version of yourself. Small, consistent actions may not feel significant in the moment, but when compounded over time, they make the impossible possible. The mountain is climbed step by step. The book is written word by word. The fortune is built dollar by dollar. The skill is mastered repetition by repetition. The life you dream of will not arrive in one massive leap. It will arrive because you gave 1 hour today, and then another tomorrow, and then another the day after that. It is not glamorous, it is not always exciting, but it is powerful, and it is guaranteed to work if you do not quit. So, when you hear the phrase 1 hour a day can change your life, don't treat it as a cliché. Treat it as a law. Just as gravity pulls objects to the ground, consistency pulls dreams into reality. And when you commit to small, daily actions, you are aligning yourself with a principle that has built every great success story in history. Small, consistent actions create big results, and the question you must ask yourself is this: will you be consistent enough to let them change you? One of the greatest revelations you can embrace is understanding the true value of 1 hour multiplied over time. Most people see a single hour as insignificant, something that can be wasted without consequence. They think, it's only an hour, what difference does it make? But the truth is, when you string those hours together, you unlock a hidden reservoir of power. 1 hour a day equals 365 hours in a year, and that is more than 9 full-time work weeks. Imagine if you took 9 weeks off from your current obligations and dedicated them exclusively to mastering a skill, building a business, deepening your faith, or reshaping your health. Do you honestly believe your life would look the same at the end of that time? The answer is no. It would be radically different. That is the hidden power inside the daily hour that so many neglect. Think of the difference between someone who casually learns a new instrument and someone who spends 1 hour a day practicing. In the beginning, both may appear the same. Neither is very skilled. Both struggle with notes. Both feel clumsy. But after a year, the one who devoted an hour each day has accumulated over 365 hours of focused practice. That is nearly the same as attending a full semester of college-level classes in that subject. The gap between the two people becomes massive. One still struggles while the other performs with confidence. The difference was not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It was consistent investment of time. This principle works in business. If you gave 1 hour a day to building a side business, by the end of a year you would have put in over 2 months of full-time effort. You would have created content-built systems, reached out to potential clients, or developed products. Over time, what looked like a small daily effort grows into a significant enterprise. Too many people say they don't have time to start something new, but the reality is they do. They just don't value the daily hour enough to treat it like the treasure it is. The same truth applies to health. 1 hour a day of exercise or intentional movement compounded over a year will transform a body. It may not feel life-changing when you're on the treadmill for 60 minutes, but when you add up 365 sessions, your heart is stronger, your muscles are sharper, your energy is higher, and your confidence is rebuilt. Again, it wasn't one heroic workout that did it. It was the cumulative effect of hundreds of small, faithful hours. Even in spiritual growth, this principle applies. Spending an hour daily in prayer, meditation, or studying scripture compounds into a relationship with God that is deep, personal, and powerful. Over time, that 1 hour a day doesn't just change what you know, it changes how you see, how you walk, how you live. After hundreds of hours, you begin to think with divine clarity and operate with spiritual wisdom. The truth is, people consistently underestimate how much they can achieve in 1 year while overestimating how much they can do in 1 day. They set unrealistic short-term expectations, get discouraged, and quit. But when you focus on steady investment 1 hour at a time, the compounding effect works silently, invisibly, and then suddenly results appear. Just like you don't notice your child growing taller day by day, But one day you realize they've outgrown their clothes. You may not notice your daily growth in the moment. But one day you wake up, and the world recognizes that you are no longer the same person you used to be. This is why understanding the math of an hour matters. 9 work weeks is not a small thing. Think of what you could do with 9 uninterrupted weeks in any area of your life. You could become conversational in a new language. You could write a book. You could start a small business and gain traction. You could master a software program or a technical skill that raises your income. You could read dozens of books and acquire knowledge that most people never even touch. And yet, you don't have to disappear for 9 weeks. All you have to do is dedicate 1 hour a day, and life will hand you those weeks automatically. But here's the catch. Only those who honor the hour receive the reward. Wasting it ensures that nothing changes. Honoring it guarantees that everything changes. It's not about finding large chunks of time. It's about treating the small chunks with seriousness. It's about understanding that the 1 hour you use today is not just about today. It is an investment in the person you will be tomorrow, next month, next year, and even decades from now. When you look at your day, you may feel like time is slipping away. But the truth is, if you can redeem just 1 hour daily, your future self will thank you. That 1 hour multiplied across weeks and months creates exponential growth. It bridges the gap between the life you have and the life you dream of. It is the reason why 1 year from now, you can either be in the same place, making the same excuses, or standing in a new reality, enjoying the results of your faithful investment. The choice is simple but powerful. 1 hour daily becomes the key that unlocks the future you desire. So many people walk through life saying they don't have enough time, when in reality they have all the time they need. They just waste it. If you take an honest inventory of how you spend your day, you'll find countless hours scattered across distractions that do not serve your purpose. You scroll on your phone, you binge television shows, you gossip, you overindulge in entertainment, and then you say you don't have time to work on your dream. The truth is not that you lack time, it's that you mismanage it. The power to transform your life is not about creating more hours in the day, because no one can do that. It's about taking the hours you already have and redeeming them, reclaiming the time you've been throwing away and redirecting it toward your destiny. Think about the average person who spends 2 to 3 hours a day on social media. In a year, that equals over 1,000 hours of distraction. What if just a fraction of that time, say 1 single hour, was reassigned? What if instead of scrolling through what other people are doing, you used that hour to build something of your own? That's the difference between being a consumer and being a creator. Consumers watch life happen, creators make life happen. Reassigning wasted hours is how you move from one category to the other. The tragedy is that people believe wasted hours are harmless, but they are not. Every wasted hour is a seed planted, just like every invested hour, but wasted hours produce a harvest of regret, while invested hours produce a harvest of progress. When you continually give your time to distractions, you eventually reap frustration, stagnation, and mediocrity. But when you reclaim that time and dedicate it to your calling, your growth, and your vision, you reap abundance, mastery, and fulfillment. The choice of where to sow your hours determines the kind of life you live. This is why discipline is so important. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about redirection. It is the ability to say, this hour does not belong to entertainment, it belongs to my future. That decision, repeated daily, creates a chain reaction that rewrites your destiny. Imagine if every day you reclaimed just 1 wasted hour and reassigned it. By the end of a year, you would have harvested hundreds of hours invested into your purpose. That time would have taken you further than you could ever imagine. It's also worth noting that distractions are not always bad things. They can be good things used in the wrong measure. Rest is good, but too much rest becomes laziness. Entertainment is good in moderation, but too much of it becomes escape. Conversations are good, but gossip wastes valuable time. The key is not to eliminate enjoyment from your life, but to prioritize your life around purpose. When you put purpose first, enjoyment becomes sweeter because it is balanced. When you put enjoyment first, purpose suffers, and so do you. Reassigning wasted hours is about reclaiming balance by putting destiny before distraction. Look at successful people in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, or artists. They all have one thing in common. They know how to take time others waste and reassign it to practice, preparation, and production. While others are sleeping in, they are studying. While others are lost in entertainment, they are creating. While others are giving hours away to meaningless activities, they are reclaiming those hours and multiplying their value. Success is rarely about working harder. It is usually about working smarter by redeeming time others waste. And here's the part that most people overlook. When you reclaim your wasted hours, you also reclaim your power. Wasted time creates a feeling of weakness because it reminds you of what you could have done but didn't. Invested time creates empowerment because you see yourself moving forward, even if slowly. When you take back your hours, you take back control of your life. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like a steward of your destiny. That shift in mindset is priceless. God has given everyone the same 24 hours. No one has more, no one has less. What separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not the number of hours, but how those hours are used. Wasting them dishonors the gift of time. Redeeming them honors the gift by aligning it with purpose. If you want to honor your life, you must honor your time. And the best way to honor your time is to take back the hours you've been throwing away and reinvest them where they count. So the challenge is clear. Examine your life. Identify the hours that are slipping through your fingers unnoticed. Reclaim them and reassign them to your vision, your growth, your calling. Because every hour wasted is a piece of your future lost, but every hour reclaimed is a piece of your future gained. The difference between who you are today and who you could be a year from now is hidden in how you use the hours you've been wasting. Reclaim them and you reclaim your life. What you do every single day is a form of planting. Your habits, your choices, your actions, and yes, even your thoughts are seeds. Every seed carries within it the potential of a harvest. If you plant apple seeds, you don't get oranges. If you plant weeds, you don't get wheat. In the same way, the seeds of your daily life determine the harvest you reap each year. Many people are frustrated with the harvest in their life, frustrated with their finances, their relationships, their health, their spiritual state. But they don't stop to ask, what kind of seeds have I been planting? If you consistently plant distraction, how can you expect a harvest of destiny? If you plant excuses, how can you expect a harvest of excellence? The law of sowing and reaping is not optional. It governs every area of your life, whether you acknowledge it or not. When you take 1 hour a day and dedicate it toward your growth, your business, your health, or your relationship with God, you are sowing seeds of intention and purpose. These seeds may look small in the moment, but they carry exponential power. One seed never produces one fruit. It produces a tree full of fruit, each containing more seeds. That's how life works. Every good hour you sow multiplies beyond itself. It creates momentum, it produces opportunities, it shapes character, and it impacts not just you, but the people connected to you. Your family, your community, and even future generations benefit from the harvest of the seeds you plant daily. The tragedy is that many people are sowing carelessly. They don't realize that laziness is a seed, procrastination is a seed, distraction is a seed, complaining is a seed. Each of these produces a harvest of lack, regret, and stagnation. On the other hand, discipline is a seed, focus is a seed, learning is a seed, prayer is a seed. Each of these produces a harvest of abundance, clarity, growth, and breakthrough. The difference between a life of struggle and a life of significance is not found in one dramatic moment, but in the quiet sowing of seeds over time. Think about the farmer. He doesn't plant one day and reap the next. He understands that sowing is followed by a season of waiting, watering, and nurturing before the harvest comes. If he gets impatient and digs up the seeds, he destroys his future crop. Many people sabotage their own destiny because they fail to respect the time between planting and harvesting. They give up too soon. They start reading but stop after a week. They start working on their dream but quit after the first obstacle. They want instant results, but life doesn't work that way. Just like a farmer, you must trust the process. Keep planting, keep watering, keep showing up for that 1 hour every day, and eventually the harvest will come. What's powerful about this principle is that you always reap more than you sow. If you plant one seed of corn, you don't just get one kernel back. You get a stalk with multiple ears, each filled with hundreds of kernels. That is the power of multiplication built into the universe by God Himself. The same law applies to your actions. 1 hour of learning today multiplies into expanded wisdom that benefits you for years. 1 hour of building your business multiplies into systems and customers that create wealth beyond your initial effort. 1 hour of prayer multiplies into peace, guidance, and blessings that overflow into your entire life. You never get back the same as what you put in, you always get back more. This is why daily discipline is not optional if you desire transformation. Every day you are sowing. The question is not whether you are planting, but what you are planting. If you don't like the harvest in your life, you don't need to curse the ground, you need to change your seed. The good news is you have the power to start planting differently today. You may have wasted years sowing distraction, but 1 year of sowing focus can begin to turn everything around. God is merciful, and the soil of life is generous. It will grow whatever you put in it. Your responsibility is to choose wisely. So ask yourself, what seeds are you planting with your 1 hour a day? Are you planting seeds of purpose or seeds of procrastination? Seeds of growth or seeds of stagnation? Seeds of faith or seeds of fear? Because the harvest is inevitable. Your future is not a mystery. It is the direct result of the seeds you are sowing right now. And if you will make the choice to plant with intention, to dedicate 1 hour a day to your destiny, you will reap a harvest so abundant that it will exceed even your expectations. That is the law of life. You reap what you sow, you reap later than you sow, and you reap greater than you sow. The seeds of your daily habits are writing the story of your future. Plant wisely, plant consistently, and watch how your harvest transforms your life. When people think about success, they often picture a single breakthrough moment, a big event, or a dramatic leap forward that changes everything. They imagine the overnight success story, the viral breakthrough, the one big opportunity that makes a person's life. But if you look closely at anyone who has achieved greatness, you'll discover that it was not one grand gesture that made them who they are. It was consistency. Consistency is far more powerful than intensity. Anybody can go hard for a day, a week, or even a month, but the real test is showing up day after day, even when it feels boring, even when nobody is watching, and even when the results are not immediate. That's what separates those who succeed from those who give up. Intensity can inspire you, but consistency will transform you. Think about someone who goes to the gym for 6 hours one day and then doesn't return for months. Their intense effort in one day will not produce much change. But someone who goes to the gym for just 1 hour a day every day will see their body transform. The first person had intensity but no consistency. The second person had moderate effort, but applied it consistently, and consistency always wins. The same applies to learning. If you cram information for a test in one night, you may pass the exam, but you won't retain the knowledge. If you study a little every day, over time you build mastery. It is the steady drip of water that wears away the rock, not the occasional flood. Most people underestimate the power of small, repeated actions, because they don't see immediate results. They want quick rewards, and when those rewards don't appear, they quit. But success is rarely quick. It is built over time. Consistency works silently at first, but eventually it produces visible results that no one can deny. When you commit to 1 hour a day, every day, you may not notice change in the first week or even the first month. But 6 months in, you will see progress. A year later, you'll look back and realize you are no longer the same person. Your skills have grown, your mindset has shifted, and your opportunities have expanded. All because you chose to be consistent. Consistency also builds habits, and habits build destiny. At first, giving an hour a day may feel difficult, like you're forcing yourself. But over time, the repetition trains your brain and it becomes natural. You don't have to force yourself to brush your teeth because it's a habit. In the same way, when you consistently show up for your hour of growth, it becomes ingrained into your lifestyle. Soon, you won't have to fight with yourself to do it. It will feel strange not to. That's the power of consistency. It transforms discipline into habit and habits into character. Intensity often burns out, but consistency creates momentum. Think of a train. When it first starts moving, it is slow and heavy, and it takes a lot of energy to get it going. But once it builds momentum, it becomes unstoppable. That's what happens when you commit to consistency. At first, it feels hard. At first, progress feels slow. But after weeks and months, you build momentum, and momentum makes the process easier. What once felt like discipline begins to feel like flow. And once you reach that stage, nothing can stop you. Another reason consistency beats intensity is because life is unpredictable. If you depend on intense bursts of motivation, you will fail the moment life throws you a challenge. But if you build consistency, you can keep going even on bad days. You may not give your best every single time, but if you show up every single day, the compounding effect of your effort will still carry you forward. The one who shows up daily, even at 70%, will always outperform the one who shows up rarely but gives 110%. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you show up daily, you prove to yourself that you can be relied on. You rebuild self-belief. Many people struggle not because they don't have talent, but because they've broken too many promises to themselves. They start things and quit, so they stop believing in their own word. But when you consistently show up for your hour every day, you send a different message to yourself. I can be trusted. I keep my word. I follow through. That confidence becomes fuel that pushes you toward greater success. Others notice it too. Consistency makes people respect you because reliability is rare. So, if you want to change your life, stop waiting for intensity and start committing to consistency. It is not about working yourself to exhaustion for a short period. It is about dedicating one faithful hour every day. The results may not come fast, but they will come strong and they will last. Intensity is a sprint, but consistency is a marathon. And in the race of life, it's not the sprinter who wins. It's the one who keeps moving forward, one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. Everyone is given the exact same 24 hours in a day. It does not matter whether you are wealthy or poor, educated or uneducated, living in the city or living in the countryside. You wake up each morning with the same measure of time as the most successful person in the world. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not the number of hours they receive, but how they choose to use those hours. Time is the most democratic gift God has given us. No one can buy more of it, no one can hoard it, and no one can manufacture extra hours. The only thing you can do is decide how you will spend what you already have. This is why the statement, "I don't have time," is almost always a lie. It is not that you do not have time, it is that you have chosen to give your time to things that do not serve your destiny. When you break down 24 hours, you realize how much freedom you actually possess. If you sleep for 7 to 8 hours, that still leaves 16 to 17 hours in your day. If you work a full-time job for 8 or 9 hours, you still have at least 7 to 8 hours left. Question is, what are you doing with them? For most people, those hours disappear into television, social media, idle talk, or endless distractions. And then, at the end of the day, they say, "I wish I had time to build my dream." The truth is they had the time, they just didn't value it. The most successful people are not the ones with more hours. They are the ones who treat their hours differently. They recognize that every hour is a seed that can either be wasted or invested. They wake up earlier if they have to, they cut back on entertainment if they must, and they protect their time like it is treasure, because it is. You can lose money and earn it back, but once you lose an hour, it is gone forever. Time is life in disguise. How you use your hours is how you use your life. This is why carving out one intentional hour a day is so powerful. Everyone has an hour available if they are willing to look honestly. For some, it might mean waking up earlier. For others, it might mean saying no to an extra episode of television. For others, it may mean putting down their phone instead of scrolling. But the hour is there. The issue is not availability, it is priority. When you decide your future is more important than your comfort, you will suddenly find the hour that seemed impossible to locate. Excuses about time are often rooted in fear. People are afraid to step into their calling, so they hide behind the phrase, "I don't have time." It feels safer to blame the calendar than to face the responsibility of growth. But the reality is that great lives are built not on excuses but on priorities. The same person who claims they don't have time to read a book will spend hours watching a show. The same person who says they don't have time to work on a side project will spend weekends lost in distractions. The moment you begin to be honest about your use of time is the moment you reclaim power over your future.